everyone, and welcome to my channel, Hisame Artwork. This is the second part of a two-part video about going over what kind of artist are you and rejoicing in the qualities and also trying to deal with the downsides of the type of artist that you are. As always, this video was a request. I am the perfectionist type of artist, so I often get all my projects done. They're done on time. I do a lot of art, and some other artists struggle with achieving those goals. There are goals for them. This is just a natural way for me to be, and sometimes because they don't achieve their goals, they can struggle with feelings of guilt, of inadequacy, of stress. And art is a beautiful thing. It shouldn't be a source of discomfort for you. I'm gonna try and kind of share with you my solutions to my problems, also from the other groups of artists, what works for them. I went over with my friends to kind of get some ideas of how they deal with it, because they might be in another little box than I am. Of course, you're not completely just from one little box. You can have things from the other boxes as well. So yeah, the melancholic artist. In my previous video, I went over the qualities and what you can be happy about with your little group and to rejoice in those. But now we're gonna kind of going into the meat of it and trying to figure out solutions. So they can often be unmotivated, they can be insecure, they can just avoid starting anything because they're afraid of failure. The spontaneous artist can struggle a great deal with a lack of organization. They're forgetful. They start a lot of projects and they never finish them. Then my main category, the perfectionist, we often deal with closure issues. Like, I cannot sleep well at night if my projects aren't done and aren't done well. When there are issues that interfere with me completing my tasks properly, I can get tense and be moody and grumpy and things like that. And often I trash my own art. It's like, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, it's not good enough. I can do better with time, and I'm spend a lot of time trying to do something better, and sometimes I don't have enough time and a deadline to do it as well as I would want it to do it, so I have to present it the way it is, and it's often good enough. But this is just something that I've struggled since I was little. Like, I used to trash my drawings when I was little, and my mom would scavenge from my trash can for art. Now my husband does that. And then they kind of share the spoils together. So uh, it's something that I struggle with, and I've managed to kind of let go in time. And I'm going to share with you how I managed to be more chill about it. And then there's the nice artist who can never say no, helps everybody else, and is most likely to burn out. I've burned out once. It hasn't happened since. But with the nice artist, it can happen way too often for their own health and benefits. So as well, if you have solutions and ideas to these problems, please share them in the comments below. Let's share what helps us, what is good, what's a way to be happier, healthier, things like that. Don't be shy. You can help somebody with this. So the melancholic artist, the nope artist. First of all, if you suffer from depression, I definitely recommend you seek professional help. There are many types of depression. Like the one that's high functioning, from my understanding, is something you can live with years and years. But if it's some that is the motor kind, then you'll have problems getting out of bed and performing basic tasks. So if that's something you're afraid you might have, go seek professional help. I'm serious. So yeah, if it's just, you're melancholic by nature, you can have periods of, you're unmotivated and you're always feeling tired or sick. You're filled with anxiety and insecurity. You're terrified of failure. You might not start doing projects because you basically gave up being an artist. And if it's a hobby, it's not the end of the world. But if it's your main job, yeah, that can impact you financially as well. And it's just kind of a vicious cycle of not achieving the goals you wanted. And there's this societal myth that, artist plus sadness equals great art. And it's not for everybody. When I'm sad, I just do weird, creepy art, which I guess some people can consider great. But the reality for a lot of artists is that artist plus sadness just equals an uninspired, sad artist. Definitely depends on the type of person you are. And you cannot apply this societal myth on everybody. And I'm having here a little comic from Sarah Scribbles on Tapastic, and she says that her truth is content happy artist is an artist that's happily working. So ideally you will get to that point. And what I found works best for me is to surround myself with people that complement my strengths with theirs. Kind of where I'm weak, I'm still working on improving certain aspects of myself. Somebody else is strong at it, and I can learn from them and also lean on them. So get a support buddy, get somebody that is willing to understand you and help you and lift you up if that's something you need. Also, what I've talked to other artists that deal with this, sometimes what helps them, but not always, is to make achievable to-do lists. Like put small things on your list, like draw a puppy, or there are a lot of those challenges like draw Halloween, Inktober, mermaid, things like that. And if you can do, let's say, 3 out of 30 illustrations that month, put that as your goal, achieve it, and be happy with yourself that you're starting to get there. The second one, the spontaneous artist, the what artist, and this was the bulk of my friends that were asking me for advice on how to do stuff, because they struggle completing tasks, which is not something that I've ever had problems with. So what seems to be their problem is that they're disorganized. Deadlines basically mean nothing. Like they might think it is important, but they always blow them. They're forgetful. They have side projects to their side projects. Often I can fall into that. Like I want to start a bajillion things and just switch from one project to the other, but I'm always working. So if I hit a bump in one project, I'll just switch and work on another project that I have ideas for and just keep the ball always rolling, and eventually I finish all of my projects that I've started. But that is not the case for the spontaneous artist. They can sometimes fall into this trap that they never finish anything, because procrastination is the word of the day every day. And I have some fun comics for you here to kind of illustrate the situations for those of you that can't relate, from Katana Comics and from Ellis Rosen. There's some pretty funny comics. I will put all the links down below for you guys to kind of procrastinate some more looking at funny comics online instead of doing what you're supposed to do. Side note, if you have ADHD or problems with concentrating, focusing, and it's a medical issue that is impacting you, first of all, make sure that you identify it so that you can start building towards it, because a lot of people aren't diagnosed. And then see how other such artists deal with it. I do not have this issue, so I'm not in the best position to kind of give you advice about it, but I've talked with other artists that have friends of mine that have told me that they suffer from this issue, and I've asked them to share what works for them. And getting a nagging buddy can work sometimes. It just depends really on the person and the relationship and the friendship. Like, this can backfire a lot, but it works for some to a certain degree. um, and then make to-do lists. Now, for the nagging buddy, I've sometimes been that nagging buddy, because that's kind of a bit of a... I'm trying to think of something nice to say about myself. um, yeah, I can do that, and it can help. Again, it needs to be something that is mutually agreed upon, and it's a lot of work. And uh, yeah, it's bringing back memories to me that can be negative. So, yeah, be careful with that. I've other advices that I had, like make to-do lists. Doesn't always work with the spontaneous artists. For some, I've seen that eating soulless health food every time you fail a deadline can be a motivator, but often the stick works even less than the carrot. So yeah, it's really difficult for me to give advice on this. What I would say is that what my friend said, and that is that um, challenges on the internet, like the mermaid, the Halloween, the Inktober, has helped them at least achieve some artist goals, not necessarily the ones they wanted, like they wanted to finish some comic books and they weren't able to, but at least they got the illustrations. You can check for challenges that force you to do like a comic book that's, I don't know, 10 or 30 pages of art. Personally, I find again that having a friend that compliments you is the best solution to all of these issues, because we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, and the best way to deal with them, in my opinion, is to pair up with somebody that compliments you. But that might not always be available for everybody. Again, you can always visit my server, and we can talk more about it, my Discord server. And hopefully find somebody that shares the same passions and goals as you, and you become teammates. For example, my comic book, I've teamed up with a friend that I found on Sue, which is a great community. Another project, I found teaming up with somebody on the Nexus platform for mods. Um, and we're doing a mod for a game called Stardew Valley. Who else I've paired up? I've paired up over the years with several people to finish like projects, passion projects, and also in workplaces. Again, it's good to have like a good mix of people, and it definitely depends on the manager, the boss, and how good he is or she. Mostly I've had he's at pairing people up on their strengths and weaknesses. Generally, they just hire people that are professionals and competent, and they're expected to do everything perfectly, and that doesn't always happen because people are different. So, yeah, that's kind of my advice. Get a friend that you get along with, and try and ask them to help you out with your issues. Even if they're not an artist, you can, as an artist, decide where you want to go, what you want to do, and then just kind of give them their list and to kind of help them help you sort of situation. The perfectionist artist, the grrr artist, this is mostly my box. Now I took the test to see if I'm an A type or a B type, and the internet has deemed me a B type, but honestly, I get really AE quite often. So, uh, this is from Altered on Webtoons. He's a really fun comic artist. I definitely recommend you go check out his stuff. He does a lot of fun skits that I find very relatable. So, let's get into the meat of it. Closure issues. Must finish every project they start or they are not able to sleep well. I haven't slept well in forever. Like, I can remember only 2 nights that I slept well in my entire life. So, uh, I can also get tense from lack of patience. So, for example, if it's a new software I'm trying to work in and they don't have the same standardized keyboard shortcuts, and for example, they have brushes, but they don't call them brushes. They call them flubber, fruity loops, whatever. And I'm struggling to find where everything is. I'm like, this program is so stupid. Why isn't it made properly? And I can get really frustrated with that. Of course, with clients, I much prefer to have somebody else deal with clients because often people that aren't artists lack the ability to express what they want in an understandable way. They lack the jargon, they lack the ability to think in a certain way. I saw some YouTube video about a mental condition that affects 2% of the population where they're just not able to visualize what you're telling them. So if you tell them, I'm going to make your logo a red square with blue circle in the top right corner, and they're just not able to understand that unless you draw it on paper for them. So for the longest time I thought that those clients maybe have been dropped on their heads as babies or something's wrong with them, but now I kind of understand it's just this genetic predisposition or whatever the issue is exactly. Is not considered a disorder because they can still live their lives fruitfully. It's like having an extra pinky or something like that. So it's not something that damages their life experience or anyway. It just makes them very difficult clients for artists to deal with, especially if they get angry and entitled and things like that. They can become very difficult people, and these types of people stress me out to deal with them. So again, get a chill buddy or have somebody to deal with people that I struggle to deal with. Again, like I said before, I trash my own art. I can always do better in time. I never like my art. So these are kind of the struggles that I deal with. Making a humane schedule, like I said, I've burned out, and I think it's a problem in the family. Like my uncle is a veterinarian, he has his vet clinic, he's a university professor. He built his own house with his own hands for the most part, just because the quality of workers in our country is not great, so he had to do his own house by himself. And yeah, he's a workaholic like me. And I remember when I visited him one holiday, he asked me if I took Sundays off, and I was like, "What? Do you take your Sundays off?" Take your Sundays off. Your health is important. And he said, take it from me. You don't want to burn out. And I was like, yeah, I burned out once, and I'd rather not do it again. I kind of had a mini coma. So, yeah. And what I've learned to do is just manage my workload to a more humane, sustainable schedule and not push myself so hard. For example, my comic book series took me 4 years to finish it, and I paired up with a friend. She's much better at drawing people than me. Also, she's a messy illustrator, but cleaning up the line art after her takes me less time, less stress than if I did the line art myself. And then I do the colors and the dialogue and just everything else with the marketing and distribution and shops. And all she does is the line art because that's a big hurdle for me as a perfectionist. Like nothing's good enough. Often my characters can be wooden. Like I don't draw very animated, realistic, like alive. My characters, I don't feel that I draw them good enough and they seem relatable and alive. So she's much better at doing it. So I've paired up with her and she deals with this issue that is too big for me to deal alone. And also the workload, because I was publishing one page every week and I wanted to keep in that rhythm. And the fact that she did the line art and then I colored it. In kind of 2 weeks, we would finish everything. But it was kind of like offset. And also I did live streams of me coloring the line art. So I'd be sure that I would stream Tuesdays and Thursdays how I finished the page so that any other details like dialogue and things like that will be finished by Friday. So I would work during the work week on this project and then have my weekend off to spend with my husband, with my friends, and I would just publish the page on Sunday. And yeah, I managed to, for 4 years, survive and not push myself too hard and just do everything that I wanted to do at a reasonable, humane pace. And thank you so much to my friend for collaborating with me on that and helping me get everything done. And of course, to all of my audience, thank you for all your support that paid for our coffee for her and tea for me. And as always, you know, if you're a perfectionist artist and you have anger management issues, just breathe. It really does help. Like when you're talking to a client or a boss or something, that's just, yeah, breathe. Or dealing with another artist that doesn't work well with you, breathe. Always, you know, breathe and give it some time to sink in. Like there's someone that I collaborate on a project with, and often he pushes my buttons really bad and I'm like, I want to breathe. I often, like when he's very annoying for me, I'm sure he doesn't think he is, I just stop answering the messages and I'll just take an hour or two and do something else, something fun. I've with this pandemic, I've filled my balcony with plants and it's all green and fun and beautiful, and I just have some tea in there and I breathe. So, sorry this segment went a bit longer. I know there are not that many perfectionist artists, but those of us that do exist out there, there's not much advice out there, and I know a lot of us don't want to take advice. Like sometimes there's got to be another perfectionist that kind of slaps you to reality. For me, it was my uncle. It was like, you know, chill, take Sundays off. You won't die if you do that. It will be good for you. And it was someone that I believed in trust because I knew how much he accomplished in his life. And so, yeah, that was the wake-up call for me. Hopefully, I will be the wake-up call for a lot of you that are in denial of your issues. And then there's the nice artist, my favorite kind of artist, because they complement me very well. I think they compliment everybody. That's kind of like their goal in life. They can't say no, so they end up working too much, often for free. And they help everybody else, neglecting their own projects, and their career suffers. And they will burn out sooner or later. Like if for me, I burned out once, I would learn my lesson. Or even if I didn't, I would like listen and avoid doing it. For the nice artist is a certainty that they will burn out, and it's just a matter of time, not an if it will or will not happen. It will happen, and it will happen again and again until they either kick the bucket or they learn their lesson. So here I have some examples from John Hendrick and Hello Giggles comics. Probably some of you that are nice artists will relate to this. It's very hard to give advice to nice artists because nice artists, like perfectionist artists, don't want advice. They will reject it. Like the melancholic and the spontaneous know there's something wrong and they want to fix it, while the other two, they're in denial. So I'm sure you've heard this before from your friends in general. If you're a nice artist, learn to say no, but you refuse to learn to do that. Accept help in being selfish. So if somebody else is trying to teach you to be a jerk, you often will say, no, I don't want to be a jerk. I want to be nice. And you don't want to accept the help in being selfish. But in this situation, being selfish will be for the benefit of your health and well-being, your relationships. I've met plenty of nice artists over the years, and yeah, it's great to have them around until they collapse and then they drag you down with them. They often get really taken advantage of, which is something that I take great issue with. I think that they're awesome people, and I hate to see them being taken advantage of. It really pisses me off, and I try and help them, but they're saying like, I don't want to be an asshole like you. I'm like, it will help you. It will. The best solution to this, again, I think, is pairing up with somebody that compliments you. Like I said before, I like to have somebody around me that is chill, so that we can work on the art projects. And then for me, it's great to have somebody that has people skills to deal with clients and the business aspect, because dealing with people is hard for me because I often lose my patience. I'm really gotten good at smelling, who's a bad client and not worth wasting my time on. So I have like phrases I use to, excuse myself out of the relationship. I might be cutting myself off from some opportunities, but just because I value my peace of mind, because I know how it affects my productivity, I would kind of assess the ups and downs of each situation and think like long term what's the best solution for me. And again, I would say for the nice artist to get a front person to say no for you, like kind of split the money that you guys make and have somebody deal with the clients. Someone that knows how to say no, that can smell a scammer. Because for the nice artists, when somebody begs for art, they find it hard to say no when they get like this sob story with, oh, I'm struggling with my girlfriend. She kicked me out of the house and I want some art to give her as a gift and to forgive me, and like my whole relationship, and I have kids with her and she's pregnant and blah, blah, blah. And they always fall for this kind of stuff. And I'm like, why? Why are you so nice? It's hurting you. So my best recommendation to that is to kind of get a front person to say no for you if you yourself can't or refuse to say no. Get someone that can say no, and find, hopefully someone that has people skills, like not me, has people skills that says no in a nice, polite way that maybe you'll still get a recommendation like, oh, that person's super nice, and I recommend them as an artist. Because often, if somebody gets upset with you, they'll give you a bad review on the internet or say lies and mean things about you. And the nice artist really dreads slander, dreads negative situation, and things that can happen like this with crazy people on the internet or in real life as well. They try and ruin your reputation. I've started actually collecting horror stories like this from nice artists to kind of give you an outlet, because often you guys don't want to complain about your struggles and problems. And I've talked with nice artists, and they tell me often, it's like, oh, it's so good to have somebody to, talk to about these horrible situations I'm in, and I felt so stressed and alone and horrible. And I hate to see them in this situation. So I am making videos about how to avoid scammers, because some of you nice artists are young and don't know these tricks to avoid them. I've never gotten scammed because my bullshit meter is working very well, and I don't often succumb to sob stories like this. Also, I come from a country where we have a lot of scams on the street with beggars and kids and puppies and things like that. So there's like another layer to my cultural experience that makes me more aware of these things that might not be in your country. So when you're on an international scale, you're getting people from other places that are much better at lying and scamming you than you can imagine. So hope you look forward to that series, and hope it helps you out to kind of better understand your situation and how to avoid all of this, heartbreak. Because for some people that are sensitive and gentle, like having repeated negative experience in a work field can make you leave that work field, and it might be a great loss if you are very gifted and talented in that, and I don't want to lose you. So yeah, hope my video has helped you, and the other ones that are coming out that will help you further. Just a friendly reminder that I do art giveaways every time I reach a milestone on YouTube. The coming milestone is 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe if you want to speed up that event. And as always, thank you for watching. You can find me on Discord and we can chat some more. As well as you can follow me on social media, my blogs and channels. If you're not an artist and you like my art, you can go buy from my shops. I have a lot of fun stuff there. And if you just want to support because you're happy for these videos, you can on Coffee and Patreon too, Tapas and so on. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hope it will help you. Take care and have a beautiful week.